brave, Miss Jenny." "Let us admit, then, that I am brave, and allow me to stay by you." "I can refuse you nothing, Miss Halliburtt," replied the captain, looking at the young girl's calm face. These words were hardly uttered when they saw a line of white smoke issue from the bulwarks of the corvette. Before the report had reached the Dolphin, a projectile whizzed through the air in the direction of the steamer. At about 20 fathoms from the Dolphin, the shot, the speed of which had sensibly lessened, skimmed over the surface of the waves, marking its passage by a series of water jets. Then, Matthew, "They will take some time to reload such pieces." "Upon my honor, it is an interesting sight," said Crockston, who, with arms crossed, stood perfectly at his ease looking at the scene. "Ah, that's you!" cried James Playfair, scanning the American from head to foot. "It is me, Captain," replied the American, undisturbed. "I have come to see how these brave Federals fire. Not badly, in truth, not badly." "So much for patent logs, Mr. Matthew," said James Playfair. "Thanks to those shot, we know how to rate our speed. Now have the fires lowered. It is not worthwhile to waste our coal uselessly." "It is a good ship that you command," said Miss Halliburtt to the young captain. "Yes, Miss Jenny, my good Dolphin makes her 17 knots, and before the day is over we shall have lost sight of that corvette." James Playfair did not exaggerate the sailing qualities of his ship, and the sun had not set before the masts of the American ship had disappeared below the horizon. This incident allowed the captain to see Miss Halliburtt's character in a new light. Besides, the ice was broken, henceforward, during the whole of the voyage. The interviews between the captain and his passenger were frequent and prolonged. He found her to be a young girl, calm, strong, thoughtful, and intelligent, speaking with great ease, having her own ideas about everything, and expressing her thoughts with a conviction which unconsciously penetrated James Playfair's heart. She loved her country. She was zealous in the great cause of the Union, and expressed herself on the Civil War in the United States with an enthusiasm of which no other woman would have been capable. Thus it happened more than once that James Playfair found it difficult to answer her, even when questions purely mercantile arose in connection with the war. Miss Jenny attacked them none the less vigorously, and would come to no other terms whatever. At first, James argued a great deal, and tried to uphold the Confederates against the Federals, to prove that the secessionists were in the right, and that if the people were united voluntarily, they might separate in the same manner. But the young girl would not yield on this point. She demonstrated that the question of slavery was predominant in the struggle between the North and South Americans, that it was far more a war in the cause of morals and humanity than politics, and James could make no answer. Besides, during these discussions, which he listened to attentively, it is difficult to say whether he was more touched by Miss Halliburtt's arguments or the charming manner in which she spoke. But at last he was obliged to acknowledge, among other things, that slavery was the principal feature in the war, that it must be put an end to decisively, and the last horrors of barbarous times abolished. It has been said that the political opinions of the captain did not trouble him much. He would have sacrificed his most serious opinion before such enticing arguments and under like circumstances. He made a good bargain of his ideas for the same reason.